Wait, you haven't missed anything. Yes, this is the intro, and yes, it is the middle of the night. Why am I awake in the middle of the night? Well, when you're carp fishing, carp angling, you never know when you might get a bite. My name's Lee. Welcome to Committed to Carp Bedtime Stories. That being said, let's take a look at what I've just caught. What a lovely common. 16 pound of get in my net. First Rosehill carp. 3:30 in the morning. Nice. Taken on the margin rod. A lovely dark and gold common. An absolute beaut. I wish I'd have caught it in the day. Filming carp at night can be difficult. There's lots of shadows that get in the way and other various items. I hope I've done this carp justice. I put that carp back and jumped in my sleeping bag. I didn't get a chance to go sleep because apparently it's bite time and I had another run, producing this little banger. Now size isn't everything. Take a look at this one. A stunning golden orange common, a lovely looking little carp, which I'm happy to have caught. Look at the colour in him. Probably about 12 pound. I'll take him. 4:45. Rods are just going off now. But yeah, lovely colours. Lovely. Middle rod. Anyway, my hands are cold. Let's get it back. I got in the sleeping bag at about 1 o'clock this morning, so after being woken up at around 3 o'clock, I haven't had a lot of sleep at all. But I've decided I'm going to get the kettle on and stay up and watch the sunrise. Yes, it's spring and the sun is shining. Despite the fact the sun is shining, these early mornings are very chilly. In fact, my knees are knocking. So, to get warm and stop my knees from knocking, let me show you the spod mix I'm using. Now, every carp angler loves a good spod mix. Now, this one, to quote Mozzie, looks a bit like monkey puke. Well, what is it? First of all, I've got some flaked maize that are soaked in some bottled water for about 2 hours. Then I added some of this lovely amino blend 365. Followed that up with some 4mm high oil pallets, and then banged in the good old-fashioned sweet corn, because every carp swimming loves the corn. And when you've mixed it all together, yes, monkey puke is definitely what it looks like. And that's the spod mix I put out there last night before it went dark. So why such a sloppy spod mix? Well, when I got here, I had a good lead around with my marker lead, and I'm currently fishing in weed and silt. There's not many clear spots out there, none that I could find anyway. So the sloppy particle mix comes into play. By adding that mix in, all of those little baits and all of those liquid attractions should sink down deep through the weed and into the silt. And as the carp come in for a munch, they slowly waft the tails, clearing some of the silt and the weed away, making that spot a little bit easier for me to present a rig on. So let's talk setup. What's the setup on the right rod? Well, at the moment, I'm currently using a helicopter lead system with a 10-inch hook link and a size 4 crank hook, and that's set up as a Ronnie rig. Bait choice is a red squid pop-up, and the middle rod is set up exactly the same, because of fishing in the silt and the weed, I would like to present a rig the best I can, and a helicopter lead setup will do that. Now, down the margin, I've gone in with something a little bit different. Because it's deep silt down there, I'm using a standard hair rig on a 12-inch hook link with a little wafter. Now, hopefully, that margin rod will do me a bite, because that's where I've seen a few carp. And them are the rigs that are doing the business and catching the carp. I'm not really a big fan of fishing in the silt or the weed, but in carp fishing, carp angling, you have to adapt. And that's my preferred setup for fishing in the silt or the weed. I suppose one of the hardest things in carp angling, carp fishing, is knowing when to put the bait in. There is no real time when to put the bait in. I've sat through the morning up until about 10:30. I haven't recast the rods. I haven't introduced any more bait. So it's now 11:30. I've put 3 or 4 more spoms in because I do believe in that space and time through the morning I should have at least had a run. So adding more bait in now puts a little bit more attraction down into that deep silt, and hopefully that attraction will be what catches me the next carp. The only time I bait regularly is if I've had a couple of carp in succession, one after another, and then I know that they've pretty much cleared out majority of the bait that'll be left in that swim. For example, if you're catching 3 or 4 carp, then you definitely should be putting more bait in. If you only catch 1 carp, then think twice about introducing more bait, because there may still be feeding carp over the spot you've already got bait on. Okay, carp are literally swimming right underneath my feet. So, margin rod back out. Don't know whether you can see him there. Just going level with the tree branch. Yeah, margin rod. Definitely going back out again, because they're cruising up and down these margins. With the sun high in the sky and beaming down into the left margin, it's hardly surprising that the carp are showing in that left margin. So I've reeled the left margin rod in and I'm going to make a rig change. Rig changes can be the difference between your next bite or blanking. Another good tactic for fishing in the weed and the silt is a solid PVA bag, a little discreet parcel of bait with enough attraction to lure the carp in, and maybe I can nick another bite. He's a nice big fat carp. Pounder, just sitting there, look. Get the net and just scoop him up. He seems to have a group of carp just loitering together. So while I've got a minute, a few shout outs. Shout out to John, Carl and Kai and Zeus the dog. I met them earlier today. Lads, it was great having a chat with you. Scott and David fishing in peg 2 and 3 across the other side of the lake. Shout out to you. And then there's Kane and Lewis fishing in peg 9 and 10. A very quiet day. Considering I've seen so many carp showing down that left margin, I can't believe the left rod hasn't done a bite. I say it hasn't done a bite, I haven't wound it in, so there's still plenty time for it to do a bite. I am having a little bit of an issue at the moment. There's a lot of weed coming up off the bottom of the lake and it's pulling my lines tight, and I do get a lot of bleeps and a lot of false indications. But as in carp fishing, carp angling, we adapt and we deal with problems as they happen. But for now, I've got myself a nice cup of tea. I'm going to sit back and see what happens, because it is bite time, or at least it should be bite time, because just as it goes dark, usually the carp can start to feed. Having truffle with me in the day really does keep me company, but when it comes to getting sleep at night time, it's a whole different story. Yes, that's truffle snoring. Anyway, if nothing happens in the night, I'll see you in the morning. I give the middle rod a recast this morning at 15 wraps, and that spot is now a lot clearer than it was when I first got here. So there's some proof that fishing in the silt or the low-lying weed can be done. In the early hours of this morning, Scott landed his 4th carp at just over £21. Dave and peg 2, 2nd carp of the session, a stocky little mirror, and then to top it off, Kane had this lovely looking mirror at just over £23. Well done, lads. Great effort. Thanks for watching. Committed to carp, bedtime stories. I'll catch you next time. For more carpy content, click the video on the screen now.